Hi everyone, Nichole here. I know it has been a while, but I am back with another poem in the hopes of uplifting, encouraging, and inspiring all of you in this holiday season. This poem that I'm going to share with you guys today is titled The Season of Change, and I actually recently performed or ministered this one last week at a Christmas gala in Lexington. And so I figured that I would also come online to YouTube and also share it with you guys in order to share some of this love and encouragement as we go into the new year. So a little bit of backstory on this poem. I actually received this poem at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning one night. I could not fall asleep, and I know we've all been there. You know, you're just laying there and you're like, what's going on? So that was me. I was trying to go to sleep. I had work the next day and I could not fall asleep. So I started praying and asking God, okay, what's going on? Like, what is it you're needing to tell me? And then next thing you know, the poem started coming. And so next thing I know, it was like a couple hours later and I had the poem ready, and I was super excited because I think the event was probably about a week or so away. And so my prayer every time that I'm about to minister one of my poems, or I'm being asked to attend an event where I'm sharing one of them, is that what is it that the people need to hear? Like, what is it that you're trying to get to someone? Like, who is that one? I like to think that, like, when God speaks through my poems, that he's trying to reach that one. You know how in the scriptures it says he leaves the 99 to find the one? I feel like that there's always someone that comes to me afterwards, at least one that says, oh my gosh, I was just praying to God about that. I was just worrying about this. I was just reading the Bible trying to get answers for X, Y, and Z. And so I think it's just such a humbling, jaw-dropping experience whenever that happens, because really think about that, the extent in which God will go just to get information, clarity, love to us. Like, really think about that, because honestly, he doesn't owe us anything, like nothing at all, but yet he would go through such, like, he would go so far just to make sure that we understand, that we are seen, we are heard, that we are loved, that he understands what we're going through, that we're not alone, that he cares about our heart, our mind, our spirit. He wants to help us live a better, grace-filled, holistic lifestyle. He wants to help us in whatever we're dealing with. And so I think it's always just so inspiring just whenever that happens, because at the end of the day, Jesus really does care about us. He really does. And whether it's through someone saying something to us, whether it's through a TV show, whether it's through a stranger, whatever it is, he, like, nothing is off limits in which he will go to make sure that we know that he's there. And so anyways, I got off track for a second, but yes, so this poem is titled The Season of Change, and basically the focus of this poem is basically just talking about the whole concept of change, how around this time, the Christmas season and the New Year's season, we're always thinking about, okay, what do I want to change? What do I need to do better? What do I? But from thinking about the whole concept of change, I began to think, like, maybe we should think about it a bit differently. Maybe it's not what do I need to do, but maybe what. I'm gonna stop there because I'm about to go into the actual poem and I don't want to spoil it, but my prayer is that at least one person feels heard from this poem, and that you feel uplifted, encouraged, and inspired from it. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Oh, by the way, if I am looking this way, it is because I have my laptop over here and my poems are way too long to be memorizing now. So I'm just going to read off of my laptop. So if I'm looking this way, that's why. So, all right, so without further ado, this poem is titled The Season of Change. Jesus is the reason for the season. New year, new me. A phrase heard commonly, but tell me, what does that truly mean? Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, exclaimed often and full of cheer, but tell me, what comes to mind when those phrases pass through your ears? Do you think of New Year's revolutions, minds focused on eternal evolution, hearts postured for a holistic revolution? Or even the cyclical rotation of the passing days, signaling a renewed focus on goals previously made? Or maybe all of these things come to mind when we hear the holiday phrase. So with contemplation and for the purpose of exploration, I ask you today, with the same phrases being recycled year after year, day after day, what makes this Christmas, this new year, different from the ones that already came? You see, for me, this examination comes from a meditation on the concept of change. Every year we focus so much on the ones we want to make, pulling out a pen and paper to write the steps we want to take, but then after a couple months we begin to flake. So this led me to begin to wonder, to think, if this year the concept of change should be thought of differently. That maybe it's not change itself that needs to be focused on heavily, but instead our perception of our role in all of this specifically. With all the to-dos and expectations we carry, would you entertain the possibility that a lot of it is unnecessary? Many of it are things we choose to carry while forcing ourselves to be lighthearted and merry, but how often does God tell us to force ourselves to do more? I would arguably say rarely. Trying to be human doings rather than human beings, we find ourselves trapped in suffocating cocoons of our own making. Instead of producing someone who is free to be unique, free to simply be, we are instead producing fake, exhausted carbon copies who are running on empty. So what does it really mean to be? It means allowing your existence to remain in Him, to depend on Him to help you to exist, opening your hand from the tightly closed fist, appreciating instead of doubting, loving instead of hurting, preserving instead of exhausting, emerging instead of hiding, releasing instead of forcing, ceasing instead of striving, caring instead of ignoring, trusting instead of worrying. Appreciating what it meant before He died, when He thought of you and I and was willing to face the unthinkable just so we could have the option to rely on Him to provide. This is what it means to just be. It means to simply abide. In order to just be and to abide, there has to be a removal of things. With any removal, there is always an exchange, a replacement of the former in order to obtain. So in order to be, we have to make a change. So here are some things that come to mind to rearrange. Maybe this year, instead of trying to do more, be more, it is less of more and instead more of less. Less of trying to prove to others how we are the best, less of trying to suppress others in order to impress, less of degrading ourselves because we don't fit in with the rest, less of doubting Jesus's ability to hear or care about our heartfelt requests, less of trying to control the outcome of our future because we don't trust that Jesus knows best. It's bringing to Him our worries and our cares, sitting and crying, releasing our burdens through prayer, giving Him an opportunity to repair the situation in the midst of our despair, instead of sitting in a rocking chair of fear, problem solving, but not even going anywhere. It means giving Him complete control of our future, instead of comparing ourselves to our fellow brothers and sisters, understanding that He asked us to be a believer, not a predictor, to relinquish the control that has become our idol, to stop wrecking our mind about our future because it has already been deciphered by the best transcriber, the one who planned it from beginning to end with full understanding of every cord, fiber, and wire that plays a role into the unknown masterpiece that is our future, even though to us it's nameless, it's untitled. Trusting that He is a good Father and not a trickster. Trusting that He is not a counterfeiter. Trusting that He will not stop until He completed the good work that He has started in us. Trusting that He is not and never will be a quitter, because that is His promise. Maybe this is what He meant when He said to pick up our cross and walk. We sometimes think that means that we are to carry the cross alone while Jesus simply talks, forgetting that He is there willing to help us carry the weight. But how often do we choose to crawl with it alone, cutting into our back with every step we take? But as we let Him in to help us carry the weight, He speaks over us His promises and covenants to us. Promises of hope. Promises of love that is giving unconditionally. Promises of strength and peace, however, not absent of difficulty. For in the difficulty that naturally comes with life, He's fulfilling an even greater promise to and through me and you, even though it may be hidden in obscurity to you. His promise to prepare, maintain, and sustain you for all the enemy wants to throw at you. His promise to deepen your heart and expand your view, not only for others, but also for you. To expand the love you have for yourself as you admire the strength you've accumulated from the obstacles you've overcome. To expand the confidence you have to enter battles that because of His name, you've already won. to expand the belief that you have in him, to deepen your faith that he will not only save you from drowning, but he will also teach you how to swim, that he will not let you fail or leave you on a whim. His drive for your victory to become a reality is a burning flame that will never grow dim. So with every Merry Christmas and Happy New Year that we give and hear, my prayer is that these thoughts will remain in our ears, that we will make a decision today that this Christmas, this New Year will not be the same. This Christmas will be merry not because of the gifts, but because we choose to let go of the hows and whys and instead dance into the unknowns. That this year will be new, not because of a new list of to-dos, but because I'm letting go of the independent me and accepting and appreciating what it means when I say Jesus loves me. Accepting that love is present. It does not run. It stays and says, how can I help you carry this one? Love inspires transformation through grace with patience as the foundation, understanding that change occurs day by day. Love is real. Love is true. He knows what he wants, and who he wants is you. All of you. The insecurities, fears, and flaws too. So as we enter into this season full of cheer, remember what is making it different this year. We may have things that weigh heavy on our mind that makes it feel like we are blind to any signals or signs, resulting in a heart that is peace deprived, but that's okay because we still have time to make the final decision on how this chapter ends and the new one begins. Will this year be different or will it be the same? Why not do something different and let us all reignite our flame and end this mental exhausting game and instead place all our worries and cares in an envelope signed, sealed, and delivered in Jesus' name, and raise a glass high and tall and toast to this new season of change, the season that's going to change them all. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed that poem. Again, that was titled The Season of Change. I pray that it reached at least one person, and if you feel comfortable commenting under the video to let me know that one person is you, I will be happy to know, because honestly, I do this because I want to make sure that God is able to speak through me to those people that need to hear it the most. But ultimately, these poems are just a conversation between me and God. Every poem that I write is ultimately for me, but I like to think that I'm bringing you guys into this conversation that I have with God, so that you can kind of hear some of the things that we talked about and receive some of the revelations that I'm receiving as well. And so again, I hope you guys enjoyed that poem. My prayer for you is that you have a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Again, not because everything's perfect, not because all your ducks are in a row, but because you are choosing to truly let go. I did not mean to rhyme there. I'm not going to say the cheesy phrase, I'm a poet and I didn't know it, but I'm a poet and I didn't know it. But anyway, but yes, I pray that as you guys are letting go and deciding to let Jesus in and do what he does, that you will feel a bit lighter this holiday season, and that anything that's going on that is not lining up to where you saw yourself in this season of your life, that it will weigh a little bit lighter and no longer cause you to feel burdened, because at the end of the day, Jesus truly, he has it figured out. He already knows what we need to do. He already knows where we need to go. And at the end of the day, I say that a lot at the end of the day, but I think you guys know that I am a data scientist. For those who don't know, I'm a data scientist. I do coding, all of that stuff. And I like to think sometimes that, you know, Jesus is like the ultimate data scientist in a sense. Indulge me for a second. So as a data scientist, we use the past to forecast the future. And so, but we can't always do that with life, because basically we're saying anything that's already happened, that's going to determine the future. But that would lead to a very sucky life. So at the end of the day, I feel like that, like, Jesus is the ultimate data scientist because he has all the data. He doesn't just have the past, he doesn't just have the current, but he also has the future. So all of that together makes for the best possible outcome. So if you think logically like me as well, you need a little extra push into truly letting go this season, think about it like that. Relying on your own understanding is actually worse. It's going to lead to the worst outcome, because you only have a limited perspective, a limited amount of data. And even the stuff that's already passed, we may not have seen the past differently. We may not have understood what happened in our past differently. So at the end of the day, it's like, it truly is better to trust Jesus and let him orchestrate everything that happens. So just a little nugget there to take home with you. But I pray that you guys have a great Christmas and a happy new year, and I look forward to seeing you all in my next video. If you haven't already, please like, comment, or subscribe. And yeah, thanks for listening. Bye.